So I was kind of just sort of telling folks, Linda and I met at a conference last year. Linda's from Germany. And so it's always cool when we do conferences because then we get to meet people from around the world, and we connected over hair and trichotillomania. There's, hair is obviously a part of trichotillomania, but it is a mental health condition. And then it's also sort of like that's the inner aspect, and then the external aspect of the actual hair and how you care for it and things like that. But Linda, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into BFRB research?
Yeah, okay. Well, I love that expression that came up a few years ago. Basically, I'm a researcher with lived experience. I just love it. And so I was born into a family with several BFRBs. Some were very openly open to everyone, nail biting. My grandparents were excessive nail biters. And it was a topic in our family. And everybody thought it was related to the war and all that. Mm-hmm. So it's a big difference. People who are affected with BFRBs, whether it's being talked about in the families or not, right? But then my mother, totally different side of the family, the other side of the family, had skin picking disorder. And so that was not talked about. And I only understood it like way later in life. So yeah, and then I started to bite my nails, and then everybody was concerned. And then I stopped, and then I started to look for split ends and started to cut them. So I never really pulled out hair, but I was like for hours, when I was a teenager, busy with my hair. And that's when I started to become a researcher and try to learn everything about it. And since I'm 60 years old right now, you can imagine that was 47 years ago. There was nothing. And so I'm celebrating every day the fact that there's so much research, so much connection around the globe. But that's how I got into it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's also very interesting how you talked about the war as maybe like, we talk a little bit about how, does trauma affect BFRBs and things like that. And the research kind of doesn't point to like, yes, definitely, or no, definitely not, right? It's almost kind of individualistic in that sense of, and then also the idea of like what trauma is different to different people. It's totally. Kind of up to the person to acknowledge and say, oh yeah, that hard thing in my life, right? That negative event or that big hard thing that someone else might not have thought was difficult. Although I guess when we talk about war, it's hard on everybody. So that's kind of interesting that connection was kind of already being made back then.
It was made, and with it came the clear understanding that this was not just something that was so deep, that was not just a habit that, they tried to stop, but everybody also knew, and there was no shaming around it.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought, okay, well, yeah, they went through that. So, okay, and they're not doing this and that. So yeah, that's what they're doing. Okay. And so I grew up with that. Yeah.
So tell me so you have family experience with BFRBs, you yourself engaged in split end cutting, which is a
Trichotillomania,
yeah,
really.
Yep. Yeah, which is a kind of excessive cutting of the hair is also
or just looking right? For split ends. Yeah. Just looking, yeah.
Yeah. It is that, perfection seeking that still, that sense of satisfaction, self-soothing that
totally
comes up.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into research, and then how did you kind of put the two together in terms of research and hair?
Yeah, well then I continued to really learn about hair. I also had hair loss as a teenager, and I just realized that was also totally difficult to find someone who would take that seriously. When you're 17 and you have hair loss, everybody says, oh, it'll pass, right? But now we know it doesn't necessarily do that on its own. And then I got, and then I studied psychology, and I went to the library, and I just always looked for something where I could find that word or what it was. I found the word trichotillomania in an abstract once at a library. So I knew, aha, that's the closest.
Okay.
And from then on, and then my first master thesis, I did put a chapter in on trichotillomania.
Okay.
It was the thesis was on hair, a path of self-finding and self experience for human beings. So there were interviews, client-centered approach with people where I just asked them, what does hair mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had these long answers that lasted between 40 minutes and 4 hours.
Wow.
Because everybody has, other than having a BFRB, has a hair story.
Yeah.
Everybody has a big hair story from the time they were born. You know, the first comments the relatives made, oh, he looks like that. Oh, yeah, I can see I had the same little whirl. It's just, it's a theme from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like also the cultural aspect and the
Yeah.
importance of hair in different cultures.
Absolutely.
So that's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So that research, that paper kind of got you into this world of trichology and
More like hair symbolism, more
yeah.
like this, the trichology. I understand it. It's more the science of the hair and the different
Right. Okay. Yeah.
thicknesses
Sorry.
of the hair, but the psychology is more what really is interesting to me. You know, yeah, what does hair mean for you individually and for people in different cultures, and also the ritual. What does hair cutting stand for? And yeah, I studied everything, like a little bit. You know, I diverted, you know, everything into researching it, and I was very committed to learning everything I can about it, and tried also many different things that would help me not do it. I mean, help me,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
What are some of the things that got you through your own recovery that you found?
Well, the first thing was kind of surprising to me, and I met a person who became later my teacher, because I actually then later learned how to professionally cut hair myself after I studied psychology.
Okay.
And I hadn't had a haircut in 4 or 5 years, right? So I was maybe 20. And my hair was all like, it looks like when you look for split ends and you just cut a little bit, it looks very irregular, you know, but not necessarily in a way that people would see what happened. And so I hadn't had a haircut in 4 years because I didn't obviously want to go to a hairdresser. But then I went to him and I got a haircut, and he cut a big chunk off and blended it all, put it all together. So it just was just connected. And I didn't have an urge for several months.
Wow.
And I was like, how is that possible? Something that I've been doing for 7 years, every other day at least, or, you know, rhythms, you know, I mean, sometimes more or less, was just gone. The urge was gone. And so fast forward to just recently, first the years in which I had contact with people, individuals affected by trichotillomania, who came to me for hair balancing, haircuts, or how I would call them, and would report to me, wow, yeah, I didn't have an urge for a day or two or for 5 days. And people who came to other hairdressers said, well, you know what, when I get a haircut, for some reason, it just is the touch, whatever it is. So I made that my dissertation topic and did a study on where we had 43 individuals and people who had a training. And they significantly pulled their hair less after the appointment.
Wow.
And the biggest, I mean, the article isn't published yet, but the biggest takeaway was not even I thought it would be the tactile thing, that it feels better.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing was the empathy.
Yeah. What was the training that was given? It was for the hair
Yeah,
professionals?
I designed it because I have taught hair professionals for many years now. So I designed it, and it was an online. It was during the pandemic, so it was a Zoom 6 modules, and were an overview of BFRBs and TTM, and then nonviolent communication, different communication models, and then one Zoom where people with BFRBs and the hair professionals already met via on Zoom,
Okay.
where they would say, "Oh my God, I could have never imagined being in a room, in a digital room
Yeah.
with 7 hairdressers." And
Yeah.
so, and then what else? Yeah, the hair cutting techniques that I found a bit more beneficial,
Mm-hmm.
and the hair care tips, and then of course how the standardized hair appointment should follow. So it was
Okay.
and then they had a manual, and it was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I
That's
had
beautiful.
26 female hair professionals and 1 man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
participate.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So by training the treatment professionals, or well, not treatment professionals, but the hair care professionals, I mean, it's the
Yeah,
same thing, right? By training the professional that's going to help the person with the BFRB, then there's more compassion, there's less judgment, and
absolutely.
that is so
Yeah.
key to
So
feeling
key.
good, right? And
Yeah.
to helping that person kickstart. So that's beautiful. And that's the dissertation that you're working on now that's going to come out soon for your,
Yeah, it is actually, everything is done, everything is submitted, but nowadays the revision processes
yeah,
for the articles are slower than
okay,
a few years ago. So
okay.
I'm just hoping that, yeah, it's all done. I just need one more article date, and then I can complete it, and then I can publish the whole thing.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
can't wait. That's going to be
yeah,
great.
thank
Thank
you.
you for that work.
Well, thank you, Anina. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Um,
Yeah, it's love. The answer is
yeah,
love. It's like,
yep. Yeah.
wow, I got it. I got the dream. I mean, doing this, I didn't expect this. And um to connect science with something so elemental.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, love is the answer. That's what we
Love is
preach
the
at
answer.
Habit
Yeah,
Aware.
right.
I'm always wearing shirts that say love on them now because it's just that
Yeah.
reminder to, in everything, love is the answer. And especially with BFRBs, because when our hands are in our hair, our skin, our nails, when we're engaging in these behaviors, it's just that signal. Our brain asking for love, asking to take care of you, asking to,
Yeah,
meet your
totally.
needs. And you can't meet your needs without giving yourself self-love. So
Yeah,
love is
right.
the answer. I love that you found that too in your own work and through your own methods and through your
Yeah.
own research.
Yeah.
And love is the answer, right? Even from the professionals and the parents and the
Hmm.
loved ones that are supporting us, love is the answer. That compassion, that
It is. It really.
non-judgment.
Hmm.
It's what makes us feel good. It's what makes us feel good. It's what makes us feel like keeping going with the process of learning to take control of our
Right.
hands and meet our needs. What are you most passionate about when talking about BFRBs?
Hmm. Well, as I said earlier, I am literally celebrating the fact that so much has happened in the last decades.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about contributing and connecting, like with you and the conferences and people, and making the knowledge accessible, and bringing also a bit more the alternative approaches into this whole game. That's probably my passion, because when you asked earlier too, what else has helped me,
Mm-hmm.
then what the other things that helped me were, I'm just putting it out as one, it's a whole topic by itself, but it's the trait of high sensitivity, the
Mm-hmm.
personality trait of being highly sensitive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would love to do also more research on that. But I believe that in my case, accepting that and adapting my lifestyle to
Mm-hmm.
that has contributed immensely
Mm.
to not having triggers. I mean, from not living in a city to not drinking any caffeinated drinks, no sugar at night. I mean, I still don't do it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, it could be a trigger, or I don't know. I just don't do it. But I was able to understand all the different things throughout my life that were triggers. And a lot of them have to do with high sensitivity that can be satisfied with lifestyle choices.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Now I know
completely,
not everybody can move and live in the
right.
countryside. Right now I'm also not in the city, but right now it's also life has changed, and I have been, thank God, symptom free for many years, and or symptomatic behavior free. But in the earlier days, not everybody can move, but there's still a lot of things that you can do, from sleeping masks to whatever, just
Yeah, yep, yeah. There's so many things you can do, and recognizing and acknowledging like that oversensitivity, right? I mean, it could be oversensitivity to foods, to caffeine, to other things. It could be oversensitivity to like tactile, like, their
yeah,
sweater's itchy and that kind of thing. It could also just be oversensitivity. Like I know I get like you can see a nice clean background, but around here there's so much mess because we're in the midst
exactly.
of
Yeah,
moving stuff around, and so I am anxious in this room right now. Like I'm not gonna work here for the rest of the day because I can't. There's like too many things in the room,
yeah,
right? So
stuff
that's
like
another
that.
level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just colors. I'm right now. I'm in my mother's apartment right now, for a week. She's not here, and I literally bought some different dish towels today because
Mm-hmm.
I needed a different color, like totally
Mm-hmm.
like just a beige color. Because I'm just like, I can't watch these bright pink colors, stuff like that. I mean, again, I'm able to buy those dish
Yeah.
towels, but it's just a small thing. But that again goes back to, yeah, it's okay. I
Yep.
I do react to too much
Yeah.
stimulation,
Yeah. Yeah. The
and
noise,
that's
the bright
mhm.
colors, bright lights, like
Yeah,
when you can acknowledge it, then you can change your environment a little bit, maybe dim the lights, use yellow lights instead of bright white. Like
right.
there's lots of different ways to set yourself up for success in that way. So I thank you for bringing that up, that idea of hypersensitivity, even, perfectionist tendencies, like as another thing to look at, like to allow yourself to think about, okay, am I being overly expectation, like do I have overly big expectations for something, right? And can you prepare that back a little bit and maybe not go for 1,000% perfect, but go for
hmm
99% perfect, right? Or
hmm
98
hmm
or 80% perfect. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, actually, I hope I can. I'm okay with that. It's just important. I mean, it's high sensitivity.
mhm.
It's called high sensitivity, and then hypersensitivity is another level up in the research. I mean, that's just two different things. And
Yeah.
the highly sensitive person, I mean, it's has been established in the late 80s by Dr. Elaine Aron in California as a personality trait too,
Hmm.
which is so important because when people say, well, don't have too high expectations or you're so picky, it's inborn, it's
Yeah.
nature, it's
Yeah.
biology, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and hypersensitivity is not even a judgment then, it's just the people who are highly sensitive are even higher than highly sensitive.
Right.
So just a little add on for people who listen to that and have been called one of the other, oh, you're so sensitive or you're so
Yeah.
hypersensitive in a derogative way.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
actually, it's also a superpower because that means that you're empathetic. That means that you can see, when something is not happening, like when someone else might not be feeling great, right? So then you can
Yeah.
use it to your
Yeah.
advantage as well to
No,
help
it's yeah,
others or to help you.
totally.
But also, how can you use it to help yourself, right? So when you're aware, oh, I am highly sensitive, right? Like it
Yeah.
took me a while to be like, oh yeah, okay, well now I can use that. Now I can
Yeah.
leverage it in my paint color choices when we fix this room or
Yes,
that kind of thing,
exactly.
right? So that I'm making sure that I'm not uh, creating those
Mm-hmm.
moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, so you are finishing your paper and then your degree. What comes next for you? Where do you take this research and sort of that combination of hair care and knowledge about trichotillomania?
Yeah, I will continue definitely doing what I do, which is training professionals, but also in not just it's not just a training for people for hair professionals to be able to really welcome people with BFRBs, and all of them, right? I mean, not just hair, because skin, everything is involved in cosmetology, so to say.
Yep.
No, I'll definitely continue that. I would love to. I feel I have at least one more big research project in me, but I think I would actually go to high sensitivity, or what the other thing that I also made a difference in my life. It has to do with the menstrual cycle, but this is another huge topic. But I think I would like to then go away from the hair to the blood,
Yeah.
so to say. Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. The hormones are the answer. I still remember being in a continuing education training for treatment professionals, and an older white male professional was like, we see it in early teens, like ages 8 to 14, and then we see it again in women in their 30s, and then we see it again in women in their 50s, and we don't know why, he said. And I was just like, it's the hormones, puberty,
Exactly.
pregnancy, menopause.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, we need this research so badly. So
I
I'm
did
so
pitch
glad.
the idea already to some people I know, like a professor I know, and a female professor. And it's interesting. She said that very new research shows that also men go through a hormonal cycle, because the data sometimes feels so off that there are just as many men having trichotillomania and BFRBs as women. I was thinking, anyway, let's just shed some more light in that. But I want to share which some of, as I said, I turned 60 this year, and so what people call menopause, or that whole phase started over a decade ago, I guess, in my case. And I just want to share with you, and just in case there's someone who listens in, and the few women who are my age and had a BFRB, we all agree that once that hormonal change took place, it was like the BFRB was like a lifetime away. Meaning the fear of relapsing or anything, it was just, there was a that's why I want to do more research, because I was like, oh, that was all of a sudden, slowly, it was even, although I already was behavior, I didn't do this behavior anymore. There was still another level where things changed and shifted, calmed down. But then again, I belong, of course, to the people, to the group of people who are more impulsive and who have this inner urge, not to the group of people who pull because of emotional challenges. It's more like a visceral thing, an urge. It's more like a nervousness rather than this is how I deal with my sadness and anger. I mean, there are these different groups, and I belong to the group who, as I said, who cannot handle any more stimulation. So I get overstimulated, and yeah.
And I mean, the hormonal cycle, just the period itself, the up and down, like, it affects everybody differently.
Yeah. And people do say they pull more during ovulation or less, or not at all when they start bleeding. It's just
and it's about watching, it's about tracking, it's about understanding that
tracking
link.
it, exactly.
So I'm glad that it's in your heart to work on that, and we'll be
I hope that
however we can to help you with that. With the last couple of minutes left, would love for you to tell us, because maybe there's someone in or near Germany, would you tell us a little bit about the German conference coming up?
Yes.
And one last question for you after that.
Yes, I apologize so much. I tried so hard to make it an international one. It was an international one the first time and the second time, but the funding was just so stalled, and we couldn't invite anybody from the global community. But we have in November, from November 7th through the 9th, we have a German speaking conference.
That's awesome.
But with literally no translators and no one, and which is why, and please send me an email. I'm sharing the keynote with a woman from Switzerland, and my half of the one, it's called hand in hand together. It's easier. She does the personal self-help group and how dialogue is so important and communication. And then I go into why research and global connection is so important.
Yeah.
And for that, I asked for some little video greetings, and Anila already sent me a very beautiful one.
Thank you.
With
Yeah.
2 sweatshirts. Yeah.
I love my wardrobe changes for video posts.
It's so awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're in Germany, you speak German, look for the German BFRB conference November 7th to 9th. We'll try to link to the website for that. I'll see if I can find it quick. I'm sure it's in my emails.
Yeah, I'll send to you.
And yeah, awesome. What do you predict for the future for the BFRB community?
Yeah, for the future, I mean, we're going, yeah, I think we will find many, many ways for recovery. I don't think it's, but this is like very futuristic thinking, and I won't be there anymore. Maybe none of us will be there anymore, but I think as humanity will evolve, we will definitely find solutions for everything in the medical field. I really think very positively, and not medical, also psychological and well-being, holistically, of course. Yeah, I feel super confident. I feel that when people, there are different degrees of being affected, and there are the comorbidities. It's a big mandala of reasons and causes for each individual. But I think if people start to work on it, and even with tools like yours, it's part of that mandala. Any tool, like wearing a turban, a towel turban after you wash your hair, any tool, anything that helps. That's like my philosophy. Whatever helps, great. And I also said always, I need all the help I can get, not out of a needy place, but out of the place, out of the space where I'm saying, I know there's something out there that can help me because I'm still needing it. I mean, yeah. So I feel very positive, because I see the curve going up and the connection spreading, right?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty, is that there's so many, I mean, Habitaware started about 10 years ago, and it's just been like a rocket ship with BFRB awareness, with the change that's happened within the community, I just see like all these little seeds planted in all these different places 10 years ago, with different organizations starting, with people sharing their stories more on social media, with social media even being there as like a tool to connect the global community. And I think ultimately, like you mentioned, is that I love that idea of the mandala. Like there are so many different unique aspects. Like everyone's mandala is different.
Absolutely.
Unique aspects to why someone engages in a body-focused repetitive behavior. And so that treatment is going to be a little bit individualistic, but then there's also so many layers that are so common to everyone. And so I completely agree. I feel like there's so much more importance placed on these behaviors the more that we talk about them, which is what Awareness Week is for. Raise awareness, raise education, information, compassion, and that way people in these places of caring for others, pediatricians, hairstylists, dermatologists, psychologists, that they know that they need to understand this stuff and meet us with the compassion and the information that we need to heal. So thank you for doing that good work from the research perspective and helping.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's been really fun getting to know you on this chat, and I definitely hope to see you in Europe sometime soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the US, of course, both.
Yes. Come back to the US.
I'm back every, a lot. Because,
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Any last parting inspiration?
I'm thinking of something short. It's just really what you would probably talked about before. The most important thing is the self-acceptance and to let the shame and that behind and the guilt, because there is no, it doesn't serve anything. It's so easy to say it, and I myself go through my processes throughout life, but if you focus on the self-love, on the acceptance, connecting with others, and then I think there's a lot of stress and tension relieved by it. And it both the inner tension and the emotions. And that's another step towards healing. I hope that was short enough.
Yeah, that's so true. It's you know, it's easy to say, but when you can acknowledge the shame and the guilt and, you know, change your mindset around it. And there's ways to do that. There's ways to think differently about your BFRB so that the shame and the guilt don't come up as much.
And also one more thing from my experience with really thousands of people in terms of hair cutting and all that, almost everyone, if you dig, has a family member who engaged in BFRB.
Yeah.
It's just they were their generation behind, so they were even less inclined to talk about it, or they didn't even know what that was. Mm-hmm. So once that is understood, that there is that genetic and that role modeling connection, mm-hmm. then you are not alone within your family system, which is, I think, was easier for me, I think, than for people who think they are the black sheep.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that it's more common than we think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda.
You,
so good to see you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.